our modern day society teaches us just consume all the content and then you'll be equipped. You don't even know what you don't know. So my big advice. Hello people, we are back with another edition of things that first-time parents, especially moms, must know before you have a baby ideally. However, if you're watching this and you are in the trenches, you just had a baby, you're like, what is going on? Just know that it is perfectly normal to feel that way. And I'm gonna address some things that I wish I had known the first week of having a baby, if not earlier, because it would have saved me so much sanity. My channel is all about helping first-time moms, soon-to-be moms, normalize the sense that you are losing it and what to do about it. Basically, what I wish I would have known in my past, because I came into this motherhood journey so blindsided. I have a 5-month-old. I did all the classes, all the books and videos, countless YouTube videos. I had very severe postpartum depression, brain fog, ADHD, like all the things. I was a zombie. I did not know if I was gonna make it out, to be very honest. And you can watch my other videos to literally see how different I was. This world sets up this concept of like learning as like watch these videos or take this virtual class or take any class and read this book, and it's a very like DIY self-service type of learning, and it's convenient, you know, like our modern day society is all about convenience. We just want the easiest things. We're like busy, we have too many things going on, so we're like, just give me all the things that I need to know in the shortest amount of time and work and effort. And also I don't want to risk making mistakes. I just want it to be fed the content, the information. And it's kind of ironic because I know this is a piece of content, but just stay till the end because I want to talk very specifically about what I would have done to adequately prepare. And you can ask other first-time parents who can say the exact same thing, especially if you've never had baby experience. And I'm looking down because I have some notes. True learning requires experience. It requires practice, applying what you're consuming and like putting it into action, being like risking failing, making mistakes, learning along the way. And that's the issue. So many people, so many new parents in our modern day society, we don't have that anymore. We're not living in villages. We're not practicing taking care of other people's newborns or babies or toddlers. So we have no idea. We're just all cooped up in our little bubbles, isolated for the most part. Like maybe we have friends, maybe we hang out, but we can always like go back to our homes, go back to our safe bubbles and not really know what the reality looks like to be a parent. And so it is quite a shock, I think, for most modern day Western society, first-time moms, first-time parents. And that's why I want to make this video to basically prepare you, like give you the inside scoop, the behind the scenes version that people are not talking about on social media, are not posting on their Instagram story or feeds, because it's messy, it's chaotic, it's not pretty at all when you are just a mess. And I'm a hot mess all the time these days, but at least I have more confidence now as a hot mess rather than before I was just falling apart. I don't know how to do anything. I'm so clueless. So these are some tips for things to know before you have a baby so you don't lose your mind. As I'm editing this, I just want to clarify, just in case it's not clear, my goal is not to scare but to inform. Being a mom is the best thing ever, but the first few months can be very, very, very challenging. Some people have it easier, which is great for them. I had the opposite experience. There's just so much that people don't tell you. And so that's my mission here, is to tell people all the things that I, plus so many other first-time moms, never knew and were never told. And knowing this would have made it a lot easier. I would have been sane. So number one, advice online is all biased. Pretend you go to school for something you have zero experience in, you have zero knowledge about. Okay, you're studying psychology, you have no background about it, and then all your psychology classes, the different topics, turns out they're taught by 5 teachers in each class, and each teacher has a different perspective, different philosophy, different method. They say that you have to do it this way. If you do it this other way, you're doing it wrong, or you're a bad student, or you're ruining your life. And so that's essentially what this world of online parenting advice, or not just online, general parenting advice is. You come into this as a new parent, you're like, okay, I know nothing. Tell me what to do. Tell me all the things. What you don't realize is the internet and ChatGPT and AI, at your fingertips, all these resources, they are all pulling from different philosophies, very different thoughts and values and beliefs. There's evidence-based this, but then there's also evidence-based. You can literally pull an article to back up anything that you want to believe. And so there is just so much conflicting advice from everybody about baby sleep, sleep training, feeding, breastfeeding, formula feeding, pumping, working mom versus stay-at-home mom, daycare, naps, and going out, shots, the V word, shots, the list goes on. There's like literally everything you could think of, even types of toys, developmental activities, solids, baby-led weaning, or purees. There is just like a whole world for each of those topics, and you can literally drive yourself nuts researching yourself to death. Especially if you have anxiety. I had postpartum anxiety and depression, and I was just like, tell me what to do. I have no idea what I'm doing. I am dying and my baby won't stop crying, and please somebody just tell me A to Z what to do. But the truth is there is no right answer, and that's so uncomfortable to hear because we all want just one straight right answer, the formula. But the truth is, there is information out there, but just like life, you learn and then you have to apply what you feel would be best for yourself and your baby. And if it doesn't work, just try something else. You can tweak, you can adjust. But I think when you're like in the trenches trying to survive, you're just like, please someone tell me the answer, otherwise I'm not going to survive. And the truth of the matter is, in parenthood, it's not an A to Z straightforward formula that you can figure out like just like that. That connects to number 2. Social media can be helpful, but have boundaries. This is easier said than done. We all, even without babies, like we're all like, oh yeah, I should have healthier social media usage and healthy boundaries with it. But truly, if you are in the newborn trenches as an anxious first-time parent trying to learn all the things, social media is the epitome of those accusing teachers. You're ruining your baby if you do XYZ. You better not do this. You better do this. It's like so fear-mongering. You also tend to compare your behind the scenes of being in the trenches, like you're in PJs, you haven't showered and who knows how long, you haven't eaten, you're barely thinking straight, and then you see out here like someone on social media just gave birth but they look so happy and put together, and you're like, what is wrong with me? Like, that is literally what will happen if you don't have a reality check of that person is posting their highlight reel. We all like to post our highlights for memory's sake. / they might have different factors than you. Maybe they have lots of help. Maybe they have an easier temperament baby who doesn't have physical issues, or maybe, etc. And so it's so easy to spiral and be like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I be okay? Why do I feel this way? Just no. If you find yourself having those self-sabotaging feelings, I highly, highly recommend turn it off, like just log off. I know it feels scary because you're like, how else am I gonna know information? Trust me, you will be okay. Billions of moms before the internet have survived and their babies have thrived and been healthy and done well. You have time to figure it out. I think also the lie is like, oh, I need to like set them up for success the first however much time. So as a newborn, I need to make sure everything is perfect. The truth is, like, there's so much room for grace. There's so much flexibility. Babies are so much more adaptable than you think. And ultimately, nobody is perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect parent. We all are messed up in some way or fashion. And as adults, as we grow older, we can always get therapy or, change our eating patterns. And we as human beings, we're malleable. So you are not going to ruin your baby or set them up for failure. That's what I'm going to say for that one. I could go on, but let's move on. Number 3, mom gut will come with time. I got a lot of advice, as a first-time mom, trust your mom gut, trust your intuition. And I literally was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I have zero intuition. I just don't know what I'm doing. And why do you keep saying trust your mom gut? And the truth is, I've learned this now 5 months in. Mom gut comes with time, just like anything else. Just like you're starting a brand new job, you have no idea what you're doing, you feel like an imposter, right? And then as you go, as you fail, as you learn from your mistakes, as you learn from other people, slowly but surely you gain more confidence. And so it just takes experience and patience with yourself, patient with your spouse or whoever is in your household helping you. And don't beat yourself up being like, I need to know what I'm doing, because that's just unrealistic expectation. Number 4, if you haven't yet, start building your village now. This is not what is necessarily going to happen. Everyone's experience is different, but just imagine as if you experience some kind of natural disaster, like your house is like torn to pieces, you lost a bunch of your possessions or all of your possessions, and you're just like a mess. Who would you talk to? Who would you reach out to be like, hey, I'm in trouble, like I need help? If you don't have anyone you can call or talk to who is a parent, preferably a parent, try to form those relationships as soon as you can before having a baby. I know it might might feel impossible right now if you're in the trenches right now, but it will come with time. Just have grace for yourself. Do what you can. Go to the park and just like sit there for 30 minutes and talk to any other parent you can see and be like, hey, like how old is your kid? And you will be surprised. The mom club is real. Like parent club is real. All parents are like, yeah, we get it. We know how hard it is. So just put yourself out there. It's very different from pre-baby life where you're like, I can pick and choose. I have such high standards for the kind of people I want to be friends with. As a parent, you're just like, anybody with a baby, please be my friend. Like I need people to support me and help me and tell me what to do because it's an exclusive like world that you don't understand until you're a parent. And that's why it's so important to have a village. I will say, including in that village, make sure you have people who could potentially come and help you with practical needs, like holding your baby while you go take a shower or doing your dishes because you haven't had any time, or preparing food, preparing snacks for you to eat because you can't remember the last time you ate. Try to have a few people like that, if not your family. And I'll do a separate video on specifically how we have been continuing to build our village as a couple who moved to a new city right before we got pregnant and have no family nearby. I personally would recommend finding your pediatrician that you're comfortable with, that you feel like is not dismissive, that is respectful, and you have good energy with, you have a good vibe with. Before having a baby, we didn't know that. We were told by some other person in the whole healthcare system, they're like, oh, you can just find your pediatrician after the baby comes. And then we were just like, we can't even think, how do we do all this admin stuff right now when we haven't slept? And I personally recommend getting a postpartum therapist, just connecting and just having it in case. You never know. And I'm personally very, very thankful I found a postpartum therapist before. I, first of all, benefited from therapy in many different seasons of my life, so I was already like, okay, pro therapy, I know how great it can be and how helpful it can be. Just assume motherhood will be a big challenge and a transition, but I did not expect to be hit by a train, and I was just a mess. I was crying all the time. I didn't know who I was. Why am I just feeling so disoriented? So having a therapist already lined up helped so much versus, again, needing to do the work of like trying different therapists and seeing who you vibe with, seeing who you like, who's your style. Okay, number 5, so important. I might have said this in the other video. I don't remember, to be honest. I don't have time these days to review like old videos and stuff. So apologies if I said this already, but I just can't emphasize this enough. Learn about baby sleep. Learn about baby sleep. Please do yourself the favor. Nobody tells first-time parents, they're like, prepare for your labor and delivery, prepare for your birth. Yes, that's all important, but prepare for how are you going to get this baby to sleep, because that affects your sleep and your sanity. Again, going back to number 1, do some research, but don't drive yourself crazy, like needing to know everything. It's not possible. It's not reality. As an over-preparer myself, it is not possible, and you will just ramp up your anxiety the more you're like, I need to know more. No, I personally highly recommend taking care of babies newborn course later on when your baby is old enough. I think it's 5 months, getting the 5 to 24 month collection. I'll do separate videos about baby sleep, but just make sure you take a peek into the baby sleep world. What is that? What does it even mean? What does it entail? What are some different philosophies and methods? But try to resist the temptation of falling into the propaganda of like, this is wrong and that's right and you're terrible if you do this and don't do this. Stay out of the extremes. Just be informed of what's out there, and then you can make your own decision when your baby comes. You find out their personality, their temperament, their habits, how you're doing too. Number 6, do the same thing with feeding. Every first-time mom I've talked to, including myself, has just this impression that breastfeeding is super straightforward. You know, you just do it. Exclusive breastfeeding is the best. Breast is best. So we just do it, right? No, there are so many complications and challenges with breastfeeding. I'm not going to get into that in detail here. It would take forever. I did a separate video on my breastfeeding journey and what we decided. So you can watch that if you'd like. But what I would suggest is talking to other moms in your life about their breastfeeding journeys, just to get an inside look about what is it really like versus what these classes and books say, because it's just not straightforward. There's a lot of challenges, complications, confusion points. It affects everything, not just breastfeeding too. It's like feeding and pumping, and also the latch. Do yourself a favor and learn about what it takes to have a proper latch, whether it's bottle feeding or breastfeeding, because you just see these visuals they show you and you're like, oh yeah, super straightforward, but it's not straightforward if they have oral ties, if they're not latching properly. Like, what do you do about that? I wish I did this earlier. Connect with a lactation consultant beforehand, similar to postpartum therapy, just in case you need help, because it's so hard to find the right help when your brain is just like not there because you're not sleeping, you're overwhelmed, you're like, how do I take care of this screaming human baby? Just in case. Also, consider what you would do if breastfeeding doesn't work out. And again, I talk about that in my video. Also, look into reflux. Just have an overview about what reflux is, from regular reflux to more serious reflux. Potentially what to do if your baby has more serious reflux. It could be intolerances, what to do about that, like intolerance in the milk that they're consuming, or it could be air intake, like their latch is not fitting. I have trouble even talking about it now because it literally caused PTSD for me. I made a video about that if you want to watch that. Number 7, expect things to be chaos. It's all about managing your expectations. It really is. I say that in a lot of my videos because, again, you just see these glossy newborn bliss photos. You see aesthetic homes. You see people look put together if they're outside. Well, spoiler alert, they probably have an easier baby if they look perfectly fine and normal, or maybe they have a lot of help, or maybe they're just having a better day than usual and they like summoned up all their energy to finally go outside. You just have no idea. But I will say a majority of new parents, things are chaotic. Your laundry is everywhere. Your house is a mess. Your baby is crying. You're just like in diapers and you're leaking milk from your breast and you have no idea what day it is. You're just up at all hours in the night and the day. And also you and your spouse, you know, there's so much that you guys don't know what you're doing, and your routines, your rhythms as a couple are totally out of the water. And so it's a lot. The transition is huge. Transition is an understatement. I think it's a shock to the system. If there is a lot of crying, I'm not saying the baby, for you and or your spouse, if you feel disoriented, if you are grieving your old life before having a baby, if you're questioning everything, these things are so normal. Like, so many people go through this. They just don't talk about it because it's shameful, or there's stigma, or they feel bad for like saying all these things. I like posted on my Instagram story, like kind of like a cry for help, like, how come nobody told me, you know, as a first-time parent. And I had so many moms just like flood my inbox who I haven't even talked to in years, and all of them were like, I hated the newborn phase, or I struggled so much, or we went through the same thing. And I'm like, you guys all struggled and no one said a thing? Like, what in the world? I just felt like so many people gate kept. That's why I'm making this video. Just ride through it. Just try your best to embrace it. Just try your best. It truly is all about letting go. If you are a type A person who likes order, who likes things predictable, structured, controlled, I wouldn't even say, like, for me, before having a baby, I felt like I actually had let go of a lot of those tendencies that I used to have growing up. But when stuff hits the fan, when things are not going the way that you expected and you're just like, what is going on? I can't control anything. We all have tendencies to want to control or want to escape or whatever it is. Like, whatever your coping mechanism is when things go wrong, like the way that you don't want to, that will likely come up in a magnified way. So just be prepared. For me, I noticed that I loved doing dishes all of a sudden, having a mundane chore that I knew how to do, because there was nothing else about taking care of a newborn that I knew how to do. I felt like I was doing everything wrong. And I guess this is like a tag onto that, like with managing your expectations. Just know that social media is glorified. It is not reality. Okay, all these YouTube videos about like day in the life will come, morning routine with my newborn, they have an easy baby. That's all I'm gonna say. and or they are hiring out an editor to edit their video. Who has the time? I don't know. Like, I have to squeeze in time to record these videos. I have to have my husband available to watch our baby so that I have time to record these and hopefully edit at some point. Who knows? But it is hard to find time. Last but not least, and there's so much more, but I just don't want this video to be too long because you're probably sleep deprived or already too anxious with too much information out there. I'm just gonna end with this for now. Number 8. Don't just learn about pregnancy and labor and delivery because you think that birth is going to be the hardest part. Taking care of a newborn and adjusting to being a mom is the hardest part. Is often the hardest part, I will say. Not always. Again, if you have an easy baby, maybe it's like not the case, but I think for a lot of parents, a lot of first-time moms, again, because as a society, we just don't have that inside look anymore. We just assume I'll have a mom gut and I'll just know what to do. I mean, again, maybe there are exceptions out there. I'm just speaking from personal experience. I did not know what to do. We took baby care like 101, first 6 months of baby care and baby CPR, how to give a baby a bath. We took these classes, watching it online, like even interacting in a live chat. And so you take these classes in our modern day world, and then when it happens and you're just out of it, it just all goes out the window. You're like, how do I do this? I don't know. My baby doesn't look like the baby that was in the class. Am I doing this right? There's no one around to tell you. So many of these situations about not knowing about baby sleep, feeding, it can seem like a lot, right? It can seem so overwhelming. And I know when I was pregnant, I definitely dealt with bouts of like waves of anxiety. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much that I need to know. There's so much I have no idea about. I need to learn. Again, our modern day society teaches us just consume all the content and then you'll be equipped. You'll always think, what else don't know? You don't even know what you don't know. So my big advice, is it option or number 1? I don't know. You can take it however you want, but the first idea is find a mom who has a baby, preferably 6 months or younger, so that they are close enough to the newborn phase to remember, and spend time with them. I know things are so busy in our world. There are so many things that you'd rather do that feel more productive, but trust me, when you become a mom, you will understand productivity just goes out the window. You'll actually save yourself in the future if you spend time with a mom and learn from her. Witness how does she take care of her baby. Ask her questions. Ask her, can you show me how to change a diaper? Can I change your baby's diaper? And can you show me what to do wrong or right? What do you do with sleep? What do you do with feeding? Tell me your story. Tell me your challenges. Just be a student. Be like an intern of a real mom. I know it's kind of hard. You're kind of thinking, who would be willing to do that? Trust me, you don't know until you ask. Just think of somebody in your life and just ask. If they say no, okay, that's the worst that could happen, but at least you tried. And I personally think we need to kind of be intentional about recreating this village for ourselves. That experience of being around other moms, witnessing them taking care of babies, raising newborns, raising children, because we don't have that ingrained in our society anymore, like built into the structure, we need to literally fight for that and cultivate that for ourselves. To this day, 5 months into postpartum, I still believe if I could go back and tell my pregnant self, researching all the things, I would just be like, just go hang out with this friend who's already a mom who has a little baby and just observe and offer to take care of the baby, even though you're probably terrified and be like, I have no idea what to do. That's the point. You have no idea how to take care of a baby. So the only way to learn is to face your fears and get into it. The second option / potential like add on to that is really highly consider getting a postpartum doula. Okay, I know it sounds like bougie or extra or like, why would I do this? It seems like a nice to have, but every mom / new parent I've talked to who has hired a postpartum doula to help with overnight care for at least the first few weeks after giving birth, they are so well adjusted. Like, they're so happy. They're so like, I could not have survived without my doula. I could not have done it. It's so helpful. You just don't know how helpful it will be until you're there. We actually had a doula who was a lifesaver, but she wasn't like specialized in like postpartum doula care. She did offer overnight care for the first weekend after coming back from the hospital after giving birth, and that saved my life. But I don't think that we were mentally ready for how hard it was gonna be. If we had known, we would have sought out a specialized postpartum doula. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions at all. If you're a first-time mom or soon-to-be mom, leave in the comments like anything stand out to you, any questions you have, or if you are a mom already, what else would you tell other expecting parents, or do you resonate with any of these points and just want to say your amen to that? Put that in the comments, please. Follow along, subscribe, like if you want more content like this. All right, see you guys later.